panel discussion about the new club coach program. We have our program quality director, Maree Pickens, leading the session. So Maree is a long-standing Toastmaster member of 22 years or more and counting for her significant leadership and service within the organization. So she was recognized as the first Toastmaster of the year in our district here, and was named District Officer of the Year in 2019, and I think probably numerous other awards under her belt. And she achieved the DTM award in May 2018. So now she is serving Program Quality Director after a year of Club Growth Director, which I've had a lot of interaction with her as well. So with that, Maree's going to lead this discussion with our 4 panelists. So we've got Leon O'Brien, who's the president of Aspiring Leaders and a distinguished Toastmaster, member of the club since 2025, but you've been the Toastmaster since 2013, I believe. And we've got Noor Taupa, who is a Toastmaster for more than 11 years and achieved DTM in July 2020. And also another one with a lot of leadership district leadership roles behind his belt, and HR professional with more than 20 years of experience. And we've got Leonor Ragan, who is has been our past president of this club, District 17 members since 2004. Again, obtained her first DTM in 2009 and achieved, I think, 7 DTMs, and she was also the president's citation recipient 2 years last 2024, I remember. So, and we also got Ross back onto the panel as well, who needs no second introduction because we all know him very well. So now I hand the time over to Maree to lead this session. Thank you.
Thank you for that warm welcome, Bonnie, and what a terrific audience you've been tonight for our wonderful presentations, workshops run by Gavin and Ross. Now we have an opportunity for a more interactive segment with particularly Leon, Noor and Leonor gracing the stage for the first time tonight, all experienced distinguished Toastmasters, and Ross. But we have other distinguished Toastmasters here in the audience who might like to join in during the conversation. The purpose of this panel is not to just regurgitate what we've gone through, but let's start exploring some of the lessons learned from their experience. That's really the focus here. But let me kick off. Can I just ask, are you seeing full screen or not? You
yes.
are, good, okay. So let me put this quote to you. If your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader. Wouldn't you like to go to your grave knowing that you could tick one or more of those boxes, that you had a legacy? Yeah. Who do you think is the inspiration behind this quote? I think you'll be surprised. It's none other than Dolly Parton, musician and philanthropist. And when I discovered this quote, I thought, we should never judge a book by its cover. You never know who has the potential to be a leader. Just like Dolly was a surprise for this quote, she is a leader in her industry, performing as a musician, but she is also a very generous philanthropist. So are all our Toastmasters who give so generously of their time to help fellow Toastmasters, and a small benefit that they get is that they can tick off some of those activities that take you on this path that weaves this rich tapestry of the distinguished Toastmaster goal. And with that, we're going to learn a little bit more about our panelists. So starting with, stop sharing. With Leonor, you've accomplished many DTMs and you've certainly helped coach a number of clubs over the years. So what inspired you to become a club coach and how did you choose the club that you supported?
Well, Maree, I became a club coach when the district was fairly new in 2008. And at that time, they didn't have the programs that we have today. The coach program today is so robust and there is so much information up there. I'm so happy to hear and see the development. In 2010, I was the area director for one of the clubs in the inner city division. I had 4 clubs. It was the first time that was a area director. I've been in Toastmasters only for a few years. And the clubs in my area, they were all very successful, except one. That club only had 6 members, and they were really struggling because not everybody attended the meetings. So sometimes there were only 3 members, and so on. After I attended a number of meetings, I realized the members that were the core of the club were very experienced. And they spend so much time and effort to do the programming of the agenda, and they themselves had to do more than one role. I started looking at that, and I was just a visitor, and I felt bad for them. And after a while, I decided, I think I need to talk to my division director because I would like to help them. And my division director said, you can become a coach, and briefly told me what a coach was. Anyway, I realized, yes, I think I would like to become a coach of the club. And the first thing I did was to observe. I tried not to interrupt anything because that was a way to get in and for them to like me and to trust me. And it took a while, but that did happen. And we worked together before the meeting, like sometimes during another day, we have breakfast because the club was a breakfast club. And the premises where the club was, 2 of the members were working there. Anyway, I was really motivated to become the coach. I didn't have much instructions from anybody. I just got a piece of paper that the division director gave to me of a checklist, and we went from there. We even went around the neighborhood, delivering flyers on a weekend. And there we went, and we changed some of the items in the agenda. And by the end of the year, the club was President's Distinguished.
That's fantastic to hear, Leonor.
Yeah.
So loved hearing that experience. And as you said, the importance of observation and looking at really helping them understand the strengths you had already seen and perhaps helping them get over that hump of the things that were holding them back. So with that in mind, I'd now turn to Leon. Leon, when you were a coach, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced and how did you overcome them? You'll need to come off mute, yes?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes. Please
All
go ahead.
good. My mic must be working then. Yeah, look, it's the usual with membership, all of those things. But with a community club that I coached, the one word that pops into mind is anxiety. People come to Toastmasters to get over anxiety. Okay, so that was the first thing I noticed, that not only is it an individual phenomenon, but when a club's going really bad, it becomes the collective culture. And anxiety, I don't know whether you're familiar with it, but it can clamp down and just prevent people from doing anything or seeing options and stuff like that. That was one of the biggest ones. Getting people to believe in themselves from there is another problem. Believing in the program was another problem. So there was a lot of negativity towards the program because it wasn't magically performing tricks that it can't do without input. And committing to that identity. So I don't know whether you're familiar with the term hyperreality is a term some academics use to describe what surrounds us in our culture. You know, what's coming at us, what ideas are being generated and things. A lot of people now are very, very frightened to commit to an identity. Older folks like me, we're not so frightened. We grew up in an era where if you became a doctor, you were a doctor, and you saw the world that way. Now, with modern buzz of different ideas and stuff, people are very, very reluctant to commit to an identity. So that was another problem I found in a community club. Ross mentioned like having belief in the organisation. Well, if you're not going to commit to the identity of being a Toastmaster, you're never going to manage that belief in either the program or your own identity as a Toastmaster. There were some of the challenges I faced around anxiety, but then there was also the usual stuff like no marketing, nobody knew what they were doing, and what inevitably happens then is you end up with one or two members doing all of the club officer roles, and then you end up with burnout. And no matter how much you try and motivate somebody with burnout, it's like, yeah, sure, Ted, we've heard that before. And so you have to do a lot of hard work to get people to motivated. So again, coming back to what Leonore said about observation, what I did with every single individual who was in that club is I watched what they enjoyed, what they spoke about, what motivated them, why they were coming still, and tried to work with those things to create positives upon which they could look at developing their own goals, like lifting their eyes a bit more skyward rather than shoegazing all the time. They were the biggest initial goals, the initial problems that I had before I had to develop some strategy.
Well, that was very interesting to hear, and I particularly liked your honesty about people being afraid to commit to being a Toastmaster, and if they're not prepared to do that, then the club itself can't really commit to growing and rebuilding as a Toastmasters club. And I think the fact that you touched on there was a reason they came, there's a reason they're still there, they would have long left otherwise, is there's still that faint flame that needs to be ignited to remind them why they came in the first place and to help them feel that they can get that passion back, and then suddenly people get excited. And I know one thing we did particularly well last year is we introduced incentive campaigns and we tiered them. So even the smaller struggling clubs felt they had an even playing field because they weren't competing against the bigger clubs and the more successful clubs who could easily get pathway awards and seemed to have lots of guests converting to members. But the small accomplishments that they made were getting recognised, and they're winning. They're getting awards, and as a result, we saw clubs move out of the bottom tier, below 12, into the 13 to 19 members. And they were taking real pride in making those moves and seeing themselves even change tiers for our different incentive campaigns. So I like the fact that we're continuing that effort this year. Turning to Noor now, And following on to what Leon has just talked about, what lessons did you personally learn being a coach about leadership and communication?
Thank you very much, Maree. As a really club coach, there's a great
Can you
learning in my
just adjust
experience.
your volume? You sound a bit distant. So either lean closer to your laptop
Yep, I can.
or turn up the volume.
Oh, sorry for. Now, all good. I think you can hear me now.
Better, just stay close to the laptop.
Yep. Can you hear me now? Yep. No, thank you. My really learning was around because in this contest, especially in the coaching and in the Toastmaster world, you are leading through influence because you don't have any authority or role or so it's really a great learning to be influencing the club and the team members and be a resource and being valued as a leader within the club, even if there's no formal authority in there. But it's still you make an impact, and it's a really a great learning because in formal leadership roles and you have to say you have a authority to get things done and you influence with power, but in this contest that was really amazing learning for me that uh, with engagement, with more communication, with more you know being a valuable member or a coach within the team, I was able to build a reputation and connection with the members and individually engaging with them to know what is their expectations are and how we can do more, how we can improve. So that was really a great learning for me, and I was able to engage with the a club committee and the members as a valuable resource. And the other aspect was really reviving of the club culture, like setting examples. By myself, I was always on time, and I was, always be there to take additional accountabilities where there is a something missing or where can we add value. And also, I was proactive in reminding the club members and leaders of the milestones of the program. That's renewals. That's just means another attaining the training. What is in it for them, and also creating a culture where there's a small celebrations of every achievement is being celebrated, and that was building energy as a coach. And I was also feeling valued part of the team because everyone was engaging well in that contest. The other thing really what I learned was really creating a safe space is the key, like where people can share their feedback in a safe manner without any and that helped in whenever I got opportunity in any sharing moments on my small speeches. I was really elaborating and insisting and preaching that aspect that we are here for a purpose. Everyone has a purpose, and we are here to, you know, uh, skill or upskill each other. We are a family. We need to do more. So by that, really, it helped me a lot to, from leadership point of view. The other aspect was really communication, like engaging one-to-one connection and one-to-one uh, sharing moments with the members and the committee members and the club leaders were really amazing because uh, I proved in my journey that I was resourceful. I was aware about my subject matter, and really I was available with a lot of resources from district, and it was really and people were then reaching out because I was providing them with the additional, uh, information on those areas, and other things can be really building your role is to build the leadership capability in others and within the and if they are successful leaders to get the club to the level you are successful as a coach. So that was also a good learning for me. Yeah. So
Well,
that's what I can share in the small
yes.
space. Yeah.
Thank you for that, because it should not be seen, taking on the role of a coach of a club should never be seen as just a way to get a tick on
Yes.
your checklist for getting your DTM.
Oh, right.
You want to develop as a leader, and you want to be able to serve and give back to others. And when you can see the difference that you're making, you are benefiting yourself, your communication skills, facilitating, helping resolve conflict, facilitating a group discussion, inspiring others without telling them what to do. These are all skills that we can transfer to the workplace or to our lives. And this is important that we see that there's an amazing opportunity when you coach a club. Now, I want to draw Ross in here, because one thing we only touched on lightly was the club coach program that many of you have not done. I'm sure of it. And yet, it is an absolute requirement if you are going to coach a club, or if you're in a struggling club and you choose to do the coaching module to represent the club, because both the club and the coach must do the program. And if the club doesn't get someone who's currently in the club to do it, then they're not going to be eligible to secure a coach. TI will not sign off on the appointment. So Ross, for those who have not seen this coach program, tell us what are just 3 things you loved about it. Be specific.
Before I get into the 3 things, Maree, I've put the link in there. If it hasn't appeared on your Basecamp, the link is in chat. Cut and paste it so you don't lose it, and apply for it tonight, right? I've also put in there the DTM application. Start filling it out tonight so you can see what you need to complete going forward to achieve your DTM. As far as the club coach module, if a club president or a committee member, it has to be a committee member, does not want to complete that, and you wanting to be a club coach, that says something about the club. And that is your first problem. The club coach, don't take on a role as a club coach with a club that isn't committed for change and advice and support. And part of that is for one of their committee members to do the thing. It's recommended that every one of the committee should do the club coach module. As I said in my presentation, I said to Maree a couple of weeks ago, get rid of club officer training, get every club officer in WA to do the club coach module. It goes through everything. The moments of truth, which very few clubs do, but the moments of truth, the culture of the club, it has got everything that a club should be doing correctly. And if you're in this room and you have not completed it, complete it now. It takes 45 minutes. And it's not just, oh yeah, let's just watch a video. You watch the video and then you have to answer questions, and you got to get them right. It is something very unique in the Toastmaster training, because the Toastmaster training is, let's just watch the videos, do the surveys, tick the boxes. This is, you have to be paying attention, and you're learning and you're developing your skills. I can't recommend it enough.
No, I've heard you say that many times,
Yeah.
and that's another plug for everyone here.
And Maree, have you completed it?
I have, Ross, I have.
Good. It took me a while to get you to. And Maree's another example. I'd just like to bring this up. I said to Maree about 5-6 years ago, I said, Maree, you've been in Toastmasters 2 years longer than I. You've done so many things. Why haven't you got your DTM? She says, well, it's not a priority. And it may not be. But if you look at the application form and you sit down with the person, I've got 2 people, I've helped 2 people achieve their DTMs, and they didn't even realize they achieved their DTMs in the old system, because I was just directing or coaching them in different areas to do it. And as leaders, and we're all leaders in this room, if you direct members to take on different roles, they could be ticking off boxes for the DTM and they don't even realise it. And then you can turn around to them and say, I said, Steve Barry, by the way, you've just achieved your DTM. He had no idea.
Well, everyone who's signed up tonight is interested in what it takes to become a Distinguished Toastmaster and working to it. We've only got a couple of minutes left, and we've heard from all our panelists. We've had 2 great workshops. There's a couple of things I just wanted to remind you about regarding your ability to move forward to complete your Distinguished Toastmaster Award, and that is some upcoming changes taking place at the end of October. Every one of you as members was sent an email by Toastmasters International to alert you that these changes were coming, but maybe it went to your junk or you've just overlooked it. Then they've sent a subsequent email about it to all club officers to make sure that you are sharing information with your clubs. But that can be a little hard. It's 5 pages worth and a bit daunting for people. But it's not live yet. We don't know exactly how these changes will appear. So I'm going to share on the screen the flyer for the event that I have organised to take place on the, here we go, on Friday the 31st of October. It's from 5:45 p.m. to 7 p.m. This is Australian Western Time, so plus 8 hours for anyone else in the world, UTC. And we're going to do 2 things. We're going to have a workshop that I'll run on understanding these various pathways enhancements. And then we're going to follow that with 3 demonstrations of the education series. We've got Jagan, Juliana, and Ross. And these experienced Toastmasters are going to give the speech as if they were giving it in a club environment. The idea is for you to see just how easy it is to do them, but they are longer format. So they're going to do the 10-minute versions of 3 different presentations. They are creating the best club climate, which is one of the options that someone can do at level 3. Using body language, which is from the Better Speaker series, which is one of the options available for those looking to complete their level 4. And from the Leadership Excellence series, which are requirements for level 5 in Pathways, one of the options is the presentation Goal Setting and Planning that yours truly, Ross Wilkinson, will be delivering. What we're trying to achieve here is to help people understand that these new requirements, particularly for completing some of these educational series presentations, are, they need to see and hear them, because there are many people who have joined Toastmasters since Pathways was introduced, and we stopped actively doing the education series presentations. Now they're bringing them back for people to, one, be able to share and educate their members, but at the same time also for them to get credit for doing a longer format speech. So you could say they're raising the bar to be able to complete Pathways, but they're also ensuring that it's giving back to your membership. So please mark that date, take out your phones right now and scan that QR code. Can you see it there? And that will take you to the page. I'm also going to put in the chat the link to the page where this program is detailed. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I'll just quickly go to the page. Here we are. And I will put, whoops, in the chat here you are. And then we'll have our closing comments from our Toastmaster. So I'll just stop sharing. I'll put into the chat this link, and that's to a page on the District 17 website with the link to register for this event. It is for anyone in Toastmasters, but particularly for those who are in officer roles and need to educate the members of their clubs about the changes coming through. The various Toastmaster meeting roles that they might need to complete at level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in order to complete that level, and also what are these education presentations that there's a requirement to complete 1 or 2 of them at level 3, 4, and 5. So there are lots of details around it that we already know of, but I'll be explaining them. And we expect it to be live, so I'll be doing a live demonstration in base camp to show you what they look like.
Now, Maree, I've got a question. Are we dressing up for Halloween that night as well, with axes in our heads and everything?
It's something that I believe we will have some participants from elsewhere outside of District 17. If that's how you'd like to be seen, Ross, go ahead. Shows your commitment to multitasking. But I hope that we'll get many of you along to that evening. It will be recorded because I think it'll be invaluable for people to be able to refer to as they educate their membership. But I think this is a tremendous enhancement to the Pathways program. It just will take a little bit of getting used to.